Okay, today we got Leroy's going to show us his. You ready for the show?
Yes.
Yes, and maybe. Okay.
Do we? I don't really know how much I can talk about that thing. So, do we want to talk a little bit about the project, the overall project first, or?
It's up to you.
Okay. So,
Probably do that format and talk about the project second. What do you think? It's up to you.
I don't know how much I can say about this thing.
Oh, okay, so we can get it out of the way.
We could get it out of the way, I
Yeah.
suppose. There it is. It's a thing.
It's the Arduino Uno, and you're telling me the Arduino robot.
It's the Arduino robot.
And it's how much was the original price?
It was about $300.
And
they don't sell it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
There's why this thing actually, it was very overpriced, and it's kind of hard to find now. There's a lot of information about it, and there's a lot of weird little quirky problems with it. And I found it on eBay for $50, not working, but I think it's working. I think it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's got a ton of sensors on it. There's the IR sensors for reading the line. Buttons, user enabled, so you can. There's one of the sketches you could actually program it to go forward, turn like a logo, like the old logo robots. It's got a compass for steering, which is where I stole the original code from my compass from. It's got a second Arduino Leonardo that's just used for the motor controller. So the first one can read all the sensors, and the motors can still be doing, and this thing can play music and everything else while it's still cruising around doing other stuff. So it was kind of a cool idea, but I don't know why people didn't really like it.
Too much money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$300 is
A lot of money. Even when it was around, I mean, you could buy a robot for $100 from China, so 300 was an insane price. Now we've got the robots down to under $50, so $300 is like a really insane price. This little potentiometer actually controls the speed of the motors, which I thought that's just kind of nuts. It's one of those kind of going, okay, why did they do that? And this potentiometer is like a trimmer, so you can, if they're not moving at the same exact speed, you can trim it.
So it doesn't actually read the position of the tires?
Doesn't do it. Doesn't have an encoder.
It does not have an encoder. There's a bunch of, all these are, we go back to last week, these are called Tinkerkit connectors, which is another thing that Arduino sponsored, these connectors, that never really picked up. I think for whatever reason, they're either were expensive add-ons or whatever, and people just didn't buy into the whole premise. But basically, Tinkerkit modules, and you just plug them in.
Okay.
And then you tell it what module you've got and which one it's connected to, and then it knows what to do with it. Really neat idea. It just never worked. In a modular system, the modules are usually the most expensive part. So you got a module, say a temperature sensor, that if you just bought the temperature sensor, it's like $2, but if you buy it as a module, it's like $45. Which one am I going to buy? The $2 one, and figure out how to hook it up. But I've loaded a line follower program. I don't know if it's going to work or not. I printed that out this afternoon. So I haven't really even actually worked. Go faster. And I guess
It's along the tape now.
Gotta get along the line, on the line, again, to give it a chance, poor little thing. Oh, yeah.
He gets off.
It's overcorrecting a little bit. I'm trying to find it. So.
yeah, it's. See, this is another problem with this thing.
Wheels are slippery.
It's trying. Go, go, robot, go. Oh, it got off.
There's a sensor there in the front.
Yeah.
And the back.
No, not in the back, just in the front. It's trying. It's trying
Yeah.
really hard. Here's a problem with it though. That if it's not an absolutely flat, smooth surface,
Yeah.
these stupid little caster ball,
Mm-hmm.
it just sort of slides and the wheels actually don't spin.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
the casters are hanging down too far.
Seems like it was an actual known problem that nobody ever came up with a.
Sandpaper.
So you'd probably do it okay if you had one piece of paper. And let's watch the demo on
Yeah.
the screen.
Well,
Banana robot.
the other thing is mine may not be working. I did buy it as a used, not working.
If you put a little weight on the front and remove the rear bearing.
Maybe. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, this one here is overcompensating a little bit as well.
Yeah. Well, when you look and see where the sensors actually are, you'll know why.
Turn the speed up. Can you turn the speed
I
up?
just did. I turned it as far up as it would.
Oh, okay.
My batteries may be.
Do you want me to bring you a piece of paper that big? You couldn't print it out, but I have big paper.
I certainly have big paper because bulletin boards at school, we can do that easily.
We might try something else.
Because it just follows the black line, so you could easily draw some sort of track.
Or use black tape.
Yeah, on the
Black
table.
tape, yeah.
Put black tape on the table for the demo.
So they still have them for $199 at Banana Robotics, supposedly.
Now, is that the same
It's-
model or is that a?
There's a knockoff that DF Robot made,
Okay.
and it's 120.
This looks like the
But they're hard to
official.
find.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does seem to have the same logos and everything.
Looks like the real thing. But if you click it, you may not be able to get it. They're advertising it. Do they have it? Who knows?
Let's see. So there's a bunch of different things that it can do though. That's not the one. We could make it play an actual song.
25 years ago, I took a class in electronics in Tucson. And we had one instructor who was, at the time, we all thought he was an idiot because what he wanted to teach us was how to write reports, which in my later life proved to be more valuable than I ever hoped it would be. But we had a hero robot.
Oh, yes.
And so presentation, what was important to this guy? His name was Ken. And this is a class of 15, 20 to 25-year-old guys. If you cussed in the class, he'd deduct points.
Wow.
But he couldn't deduct them from the robot. So we programmed that robot to go up to the front of the class, cuss them out, turn around, run back. Oh, that sounds a lot better than SPO 256.
It's a SCM file on the
Okay.
SD card.
Not too bad a speaker on there for
This one, Disco Bot, and it's supposed to do like a little jog.
Dances.
So they actually did something really cool. When it's plugged into the USB port, the motors are off. So you actually have to watch it because I don't know where it's going to go. Or
Okay.
well, it hasn't started playing music yet. So it just doesn't. It just didn't like the lines.
Yeah, it's got a lot of horsepower.
I could stop. So you hit the button and you can change the song. There's like 3 or 4 different songs on it. Go away, you.
Yeah, it doesn't have bump sensors on it, does it?
Do I?
It doesn't have bump sensors, does it?
And you'd think for $300 they could at least add an ultrasonic somewhere, right? Ultrasonics are cheap.
It's trying to go so fast it can't keep up with it, so it doesn't have enough friction to
Testing line sensor. Correct line reading it.
Oh, let me try that on a different screen. Okay, stop it.
There's a half a dozen different, they're really good about making examples and stuff. There's a half a dozen different ones, but that one was one of the cooler ones. I was just hoping that the line follower would actually work. I
Might
guess
need thicker, might be able to do it if it's got thicker
Correct
lines.
distance from closest object is 68 inches.
Trying to show his hero.
Oh,
I have one.
really? I so
have-
badly wanted the Hero 2000.
Oh yeah, it's a junior. So the motherboard on it was fried.
Ooh. Yeah, it's fixable.
Not now. It's gone. I
Yeah.
put 7 Arduinos in it. Of course, it really only needs a couple in reality.
Yeah.
There's an Arduino controlling the lightsaber, and there's an Arduino doing doing the music, and he'll dance if Jim lets it play out. And I was using a Parallax EMIC speech synthesizer
Okay.
for the speech.
Yeah.
It was the closest I could find to it being really what it was, and it still doesn't really sound like it.
If you want it, I have an Allophone and a SPO 256 left. Actually, I've got several of them.
Okay.
There was a company in Cincinnati, Olson Electronics. They went out of business many years ago, got bought by Radio Shack. And when they went out of business, they had these boxes, mystery box, $5. I got one of those that had 24 sets of the AL256 and SPO 256 in it. Just,
Yes.
I have a lot of garbage.
The 256, that's a text-to-speech one. The Allophone.
The Allophone was what generated it. So the SPO 256 took allophones and turned them into speech.
Okay.
The AL 256 took text, did a lookup, and turned it into allophones.
Okay.
So beat sounded different than
October 20.
than bet. It didn't work so well. Their lookup dictionary was like 2,000 words.
Yeah. But I started to just use eSpeak and just make my own. Sounds a little bit better even than the EMIC, and the EMIC is a really good expensive,
Yeah, I never-
stupid,
Never
stupid
got a
speech
chance to play with
synthesizer. They were $100. I found one on eBay for 60 because I'm cheap.
Yeah, I understand that.
But yeah, that's mine. And
Cool.
we did, what was it, 2 years ago? We did a Star Wars Day for the library.
Mhm.
And that's like an early prototype of what actually ended up. He looked a little.
Yeah, I had some videos from, probably still have them, photos from Star Wars Day. It was turned out really good. People liked it.
So was the junior between the original Hero and the 2000? Because I don't
Yes.
recognize it.
Yes. Hero came out first, and then Junior. Hero was like for schools and education. All right, it's Junior was marketed towards home users, but like nobody really.
Yeah, it was still $1,000 probably.
Oh, it probably was more than that. And nobody really latched onto it or grabbed it. And then there was the 2000, which I'm not I've seen one 2000 in my life.
Mhm.
I don't know who it was actually meant for. I guess schools, education again.
Yeah. Well, when the Hero 2000 came out, it was $1,700.
Yeah.
And that was without the ARM. If you wanted the ARM kit, that was another like $900.
Right. Junior never had the ARM. He never had an ARM kit.
Oh, okay.
He was meant.
Run around and bump into things.
Yeah. Well, no, he actually has an ultrasonic.
Mhm.
And he wouldn't hit stuff. He had a phone option, so like a 900 megahertz cordless phone.
Mhm.
He could do security and make phone calls.
Okay. That's cool.
It was a really neat thing, but it was like one of those things that was probably either too expensive and way ahead of its time, or
Yeah.
too expensive and not ahead of its time enough.
And a lot of Heath stuff was more expensive than it should have been.
Well, that was yeah, a lot of that stuff was more expensive than it should have been. But I'm looking now going, electronics are everywhere. Back then it was
Yeah.
lucky that you've got a Radio Shack that you could go to and
Mhm.
find stuff,
Radio Shack almost went out of business completely for a little while.
I think they did. It's now the Radio Shack phone store run by Sprint.
Yeah, it's not Radio Shack.
I saw the closeout at one on Tylersville.
He told
This
the
week.
guy on Tylersville Road said that store is not slated to close. He's got so much overflow from the other stores that did close that he's just got to close out stuff.
Yeah. Does he still have toys?
I don't know. He was still pretty expensive when I walked into the store.
Taylorsville Road, I think, is where I bought some fuses last for my multimeter and my function generator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was in my mind he was still. The Radio Shack just hasn't learned their lesson. They need to come down significantly, like 100% in price.
Yeah. Well, if they want to compete with the internet.
Yeah.
Well, Sears is running into that problem now. They're starting to
Stores
close
are.
a lot of stores down just because people aren't bothering with that, with them being overpriced, and you can buy them online and have them shipped to you.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Sears doesn't have a ship stuff to you option yet.
Really? Yeah.
It makes no sense. They started out as a catalog company. I've been trying to figure that one out for a while. I mean, that was their roots.
Well, Sears, some things you can ship to the store, some things you can't. So they will ship it to you, but they'll charge you shipping expenses. Some things they'll ship and you can pick it up. Walmart's doing the same thing, by the way. They have a pickup station inside
Mhm.
Walmart now.
Yeah, it used to be where all the layaways were.
From the layaway department typically, they got the same thing going on. Some things they'll ship to the store and some things they won't.
Right.
It's hit and miss.
Walmart, I think now if you spend $50 or more, we'll ship it to your house for free.
So, okay. So let's talk about this big project, big small project, because he didn't do really work. Okay. That is not at all what it's actually going to end up looking like. You weren't here. We were asked, the library asked us to do a Stranger Things display.
Okay.
Using the, have you seen the show Stranger Things?
Mm-mm.
Okay. It's, I don't even really know how to explain. A kid kind of goes into like another dimension and his mom freaks out and blah, blah, blah. And they string Christmas tree lights up and she paints up on the wall the alphabet. His energy is able to
Turn on the light.
turn on the lights so they can communicate. Kind of a neat whatever.
Okay.
That's what we were asked to do. They're doing like an escape room, maze kind of
Okay.
thing, and they're going to give clues. So this is going to display the word right here, which I guess she's going to put a clue or something underneath it or behind it or something.
Is
But-
it turn or pen?
Do I?
The
Which
lights-
right? Turn or pen? Right turn or right?
Here.
Okay.
I guess, it's a puzzle, so I guess you'd have to figure out what they're trying to do. So I watched the Stranger Thing video of just the light stream a couple of times and what I've actually finally come to the conclusion is everybody that's doing this display does it a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just one variation. I did get ping pong balls in the mail, and I've only cut one because I know what I'm actually going to end up with are more like Christmas tree lights. So I didn't want to like destroy all my ping pong balls.
Yeah.
Just didn't. I'm sorry. So you can kind of get an idea of how it would work. But this was one of my variations. I've done 2 or 3 different variations of this. The red, it starts off just kind of twinkling like Christmas tree lights would,
Mhm.
and then it gets very bright, multiple colors, and then it goes and it says start spelling out the word. So
And I like the fact that it's kind of fading each color out while the next one is lighting up. It's
Yeah.
a really cool effect for it.
well, I changed it so that it's just doing all red,
Mhm.
because I was trying to stay with the spooky factor.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's the font, or pretty close to the font that the show uses. She actually paints it and it's dripping and it, and I think you had suggested maybe on canvas, and I don't think canvas would let you drip.
It will,
Well,
Yeah.
can you?
Just use more paint.
Just use more paint.
or an Gesso version of the smooth.
Yeah.
But a piece of masonite would be a lot easier.
Harder to drain.
You just
Just canvas, you can just roll it up and stick it in a piece of carpet tubing.
You need that. I was actually gonna show them the original. There's the original movie.
Well, there you go.
Mm.
So we've got the LEDs coming. They should be here this week. I've got the ping pong balls. The lady said she would like it 3 foot by 5 foot.
Okay, that's
Which-
actually pretty small.
Okay. I thought that would be rather big for,
Okay, well, that thing up there is 4 by 4, I guess, yeah. It's more, it's 4 by 4.5.
so she wants it saying to be able to sit on a table. But I told her that I would see what I could do about the size.
Mhm.
So I was still kind of thinking in my mind something maybe half that size,
Okay,
but it doesn't really matter. My other thought was, instead of having the LEDs twinkle over top of the letters, was to do the outline of the frame
Mhm.
and have those glow until it actually comes to do the words.
cool.
Yeah, so the frame would be twinkling in red, maybe every other one, every third one, put a ping pong ball on it so that it diffuses it a bit. And then the letters, it would stop twinkling, and then the letters would go right here, and then somebody would have to pay attention that it actually spelled right here. But you're kind of the artsy kind of guy. What do you think?
Sounds great. You can get canvas that's smoother if you really want it smooth. I mean, you could buy linen canvas. High thread count, very smooth. That makes it grip better.
Well, I Like-
You can use spun fabric too, like Tyvek. You can get that at Home Depot.
like I said, you weren't here last week either. Like I said last week, I'm pretty good with the electronics, the building part of it. I'm not so.
I probably want to be able to haul it, so canvas sounds good. I may have some tan canvas from our Star Wars day, actually.
Well,
We
that's
used to-
where I'm at. I mean, I can do all the electronics work. If we have to go 3 foot or whatever, it's just going to require more wire. It's not that big a deal. It's just cut 4 wires and splice them together.
Mhm.
But for the most part, I mean, the prototype is done. If I have to change a little bit of the code to make it do the border, it shouldn't be that hard to do.
Yeah. Well, that could even be just a second output.
Could be. I mean, for the most part, the prototype is working. I'm pretty happy, as if everybody else is kind of happy. I've got a little teeny tiny foam board that I was just going to poke them in and bring it to show.
You can buy bigger foam cord.
Yeah,
board.
yeah.
You could do it on foam board if you wanted to.
Yeah, actually, that
Foam
might
board,
work really well. They sell
Yeah.
pieces of it for $1 at Dollar Tree, I
At the
think.
Dollar Tree. That's where I
It's
got.
2 by 3 feet.
That's where I got this from. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That,
So 2 of those is 3 feet by 4, which is pretty close to what she's looking for. And that's still easy.
I think she wanted it so that it was readable.
Mhm.
So I think the font needs to be, either somebody actually needs to paint it, or the font needs to, if we print it, it needs to actually be a bigger font.
I have access to a vinyl cutter.
There we go.
What size do you want those? I'm not sure what colors we've got at the moment, but
Black would probably be the best.
And what color are your letters, Cody?
Black.
The letters are black, not the vinyl.
Oh,
Not the-
okay. You're talking about cutting the letters out. Oh, okay.
or we can go the other way. I know we have a lot of yellow, so if that's all we've got, I can cut out the letters. We can stick that down, take the letters off, spray paint it, and pull the plastic off.
So just paint the background black and lay it down and weed the letters out.
Yeah.
Make it black stuff. Of course, for drips, that's gonna be a hell of a thing to weed.
I think
So let's try to nail down the background. You want me to try to, by next week, I'll investigate my canvas, this canvas-like stuff. And it's
Canvas-like stuff.
Yeah, it's what we used to cover remember I had
Yeah.
to cover things? Well, that was tan, wasn't it?
I'm not sure.
Drop cloth, fabric drop.
I think 2-inch font should be good size for it,
But
depending on what size display they're wanting, 2 to 3 inches.
The thing is to make it so that those lights have something to be fastened to.
well, I was going to poke them through the back.
Yeah.
And just let them kind of hang out.
Oh, just let them hang through. That's,
If
It's gonna be.
can you
a
pull that
Christmas
video
lights
back up again? Because
Kind of thing.
they just kind of hang down over top of the letters.
okay.
They
all right.
just she painted the letters up on the wall and then kind of put the lights over top of them.
Right.
And then I was going to put ping pong balls over them to make them look a little more Christmassy, like Christmas bulbs instead of LEDs.
And now
It's not going to be a string of lights like that. It's actually they actually kind of look like the old Christmas bulbs to start with, only without the big round diffuser things on them.
Are you able to pull up the ad from eBay that you guys had?
Yeah, I probably can find that.
Is this on cable or
It was on Netflix.
Netflix?
It's a Netflix series, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
And I didn't know, I hadn't read any reviews of it. I didn't know what I was watching when I watched it. And it was just out, and so they're asking you to write reviews. And I kept saying, this is just like that thing from the 80s. This is just like that other show from the stuff. And that was the whole point. It was they were
Yes.
doing.
Yes, it is. It's
I
very
know, I
much
know.
like
I didn't know that. I said, do something new. I'm waiting for a shock I haven't seen before.
One of the reasons I pay for Netflix is they're still running, Night Stalker.
Running what?
Night Stalker.
Okay.
Oh,
They-
yeah.
All of them.
Oh, man. Okay, so there is what the wall looks like.
So the wires is running right across the front of it.
Yeah,
You have to
and
poke
I don't
through.
think I'm going to run the wire across the front of it per se, because, if we do foam board, I could poke it through the back and I could keep all the wires and everything, all the electronics kind of hidden.
Yeah, with
The wires would
gonna
make
be
it
for
look more like
kids,
the original. Ask them if they want to duplicate that and have the wires in front. Ask them.
Those are the LEDs we've got. Wouldn't though. That wire is kind of black, and these wires are all different colors.
They could paint them black.
But if you put the wires, put it in so it's punching through the back, and then just drape wires in front of it.
I could do something like that.
I mean, there's no reason that the wires in front have to be the ones that are running the
There's
project.
no reason that they actually have to do anything other than just look good.
So what's the distance
Or paint
between
them in.
the LEDs?
I think paint would be a good option.
We haven't gotten them yet, but I think
Kids,
from last
Yeah.
week, they were
The
what,
electronics
2
part.
inches?
Okay.
It's a
Because
good idea.
at 3 feet by 4 feet, that's 6 inches between letters about.
Right. And I don't care about cutting the wires and slice and putting more wire. If you look at their display or her display, she's not perfect either. It's not a perfect line. She's got stuff just kind of wherever. So, if we try to duplicate the look as best as possible, it's not going to be a perfectly straight line. It's going to be.
It doesn't have to be duplicated exactly.
No.
It's gotta be the right feel.
We're putting our own spin on it.
Yeah.
But we're going to try to
I
make.
think you should talk to the lady that's running the thing and see what she wants. What would you prefer?
Well, that's what she said.
She wants it to look like that, or does she want to look all nice and uniform?
Oh,
And,
What did
and,
she say?
and she might be okay with
She
you
wants to
just,
look like that?
I wonder if there's any chance we could get that wallpaper. It's got pine cones on it.
You could paint the wires a moment ago. paint them across the front of it so that way the actual electronic wires aren't exposed. Because you wouldn't want a kid accidentally
Yeah, that's,
yanking that off. That's
let's go to the top level. This is easy, folks, okay? Does she want it to look like that? Yes or no? Does she want it to look like that?
She said that she wants it to be able to be read. That's what she said.
Okay, and she doesn't care if it looks like that or if it's all organized or,
I want it to look like that more or less.
oh, okay.
Because that's like a nail here and there, and the wires just drape across it. You
Yeah.
can drill the holes or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, this, I like that
Yeah,
idea.
I
I'm voting for that.
I know it. I don't, you know,
Okay,
it's not
so,
really, that's not really, my thing isn't really, you know, building stuff or doing any of that stuff.
oh, if we figure out where we want to go, if we want to look like that, that's where we want to go, something that looks kind of like that. And see if I can go find and see if we have some wallpaper that looks like that. And as long as we don't make it too big, I can have some sort of background out of it. And you want it to be 3 by 5?
See, this guy,
These lights are 2 inches apart. That's a lot more space than you need.
Yeah, we already know we're almost certainly gonna have to cut
Splice
apart
the
that
wires.
wire.
Leroy's already volunteered to splice the wires, non-issue. Yeah, I know. He says it's not a big problem.
this guy, I mean, everybody's putting their own spin on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
This one's kind of like a wave.
he's got the line, he
He's
doesn't
got the
have
line.
three rows of letters. He's got way more lights up there than he really,
So instead of
Needs.
splicing it, you just address the ones that are right on letters. Don't they always just hang there?
Pretty certain on the program it's the letters.
there were, but if we go back and look at that one picture again,
Mhm.
there was only one light over top of each letter.
You can pull some of the bulbs out, the other ones just leave them lit and don't mess with them.
No, you can't do that with these.
No,
Okay, so, but aren't they individually addressable?
they are.
Yeah, so,
We can put tape over them.
But-
Here's,
Yeah.
yeah,
so
You write a packet to the first one that says, go turn blue. Then you put in another packet and that LED sends a packet to the second LED. So each one has to talk to the one after it.
okay, but it doesn't have to be on, does it, to do the talking?
no.
So you can turn off a bunch of them and just have the letters lit.
Where are you?
See,
Good.
Yeah, but
That's good, come on.
she's only got one
Yeah.
LED or one bulb over top of each letter.
And why can't a spirit that can do that just talk? Turn on light bulbs.
Because it's more creepy to turn on light bulbs.
Tell me what to do, what should I
Oh,
do? How do I get
In
you?
doing
How do I find you? What should I do?
and straight up, I'll be honest, I really don't get the fascination behind this. I really don't. But in doing my little bit of checking to try to figure out how to actually get it done, everybody's putting their own spin on it. So I guess it really doesn't completely 100% matter what we do. It's ours. It's our interpretation of this thing.
As long as it can spell out the word.
As long as it can
You've
spell
already
the
got
word
working.
and it's readable from, I guess, she said 3 foot by 5 foot. I think if we come somewhere close,
Mhm.
she'd probably be happy with that.
It's that, I do like the idea of the wallpaper after looking at the one that's just plain white. I think it looks better.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to be that wallpaper.
Maybe we could find wallpaper with corn on it. Popcorn. It's kind of a creepy 80s kind of vibe, kind of show.
Yeah,
And I think-
they did
I
a
think-
good job of making sure that all the sets were all pretty accurate.
Yeah.
There are computers in the background and a lot of scenes that are right.
For the period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got the letters there. You can expand that and print that. And well, you have to cut them out though, wouldn't you?
Yeah. That's where a vinyl cutter would come in really handy.
But you'd have to cut it to those designs would be,
No, that's no problem.
The vinyl cutter can do that.
okay, any size?
Mhm.
Pretty
Okay.
much. That's a standard font file, TF,
TTF,
yeah, whatever it is.
what's it called?
Here, you can have that.
Oh, okay,
I probably have, or it may have the,
something strange, okay.
if not, I can send you the font file.
If you didn't find the wallpaper to be right, if I were doing it, what I would do, because I work with metal a lot, I'd get a really thin gauge steel, which I got. I'd put all the lights on it, I'd put the vinyl letters on it, and then I'd rust the thing, so it just looked deteriorated and
That's a
nasty.
good idea.
And then you just have this lightweight thing, that was it.
So I was picturing 1/4-inch plate until you said lightweight.
Like 28 gauge, that's thinner than cardboard.
A 3x5 is probably a bit big for a foam board.
Yeah.
Well, the foam
But
board I
2x4
bought
is
was,
easy.
2x4 is easy.
Yeah,
Oh,
two
2 of-
pieces of 2x4, you can, or 2x, what
Or
are
one
they,
piece
2x3?
of steel, any size.
There's a standard size for them, and I think it's 2 feet by 3 feet. I think it's
Okay.
24 by 36.
I think you can get it bigger.
I'm talking the stuff that's $1.
Yeah, that's true.
But, you know, if, as long as it's not, you know, $20 or something like that, we can probably spend that if we can
Yeah.
find it.
Well, I mean, that size, they're $1 each at Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
And
And then
2
you
of those, I mean, the wires are
put 'em
already a
together.
hinge for all intents and purposes.
If we
Then
do
you-
the foam
yeah.
board, we'd have to frame it and make it into one piece probably.
Just put packing tape between the two. It's a hinge then. Now it'll fold up and fit in a car.
Mm.
It'll sit in the back seat.
Will it look nice?
Yeah, especially if you put wallpaper on it. That'd look cool.
Yeah, then you fold it up and
And
it's
then-
gonna.
No, that's what the tape's for. It acts like a hinge. Packing tape is amazingly strong stuff.
Okay, so you think, so maybe foam back, several pieces of foam back. And we'll see what the size of that is,
What's your
okay?
deadline, what you want it?
it's, what, June?
Oh.
June 20.
July 21st.
Okay, so there's time.
Okay, who wants to look into the foam back?
Who's
I
making the thing?
I'm right down the street from the Dollar Tree.
Okay,
There's a whole bunch of people that make RC airplanes out of them.
wallpaper, who's gonna do wallpaper?
Look for wallpaper.
Okay,
80s style wallpaper.
That's really all it is, really. Maybe late 70s, early
and you're
80s.
gonna be checking out, you can probably do the letters.
Mhm.
We just gotta figure out what color we
I
want.
gotta find out. I know I've got access to a vinyl cutter, but I don't know what colors we've got. Again, if we can use that as a stencil and spray paint it.
Yeah,
Mm.
we can spray paint it worst case.
That's not a bad idea either, since it was painted.
If, I'm not gonna be here next week, but I can bring you black vinyl for that thing if you want.
Yeah,
Okay.
at one time I had a bunch of black vinyl.
Okay, we got plenty of time, let's let it, and see what size, let it float for a while, see what we get next week, we'll talk about the foam back, and, see how the vinyl letter stuff is going, you probably can do that, no problem.
And hopefully by next week, we'll have the actual real LEDs that we're going to
Yeah, it's
use.
supposed to be in by the 15th.
And make sure that they actually do what we think they're going to do.
I'll have the assignments up on the meeting announcement page, so you can go look at that. You can get your last meeting announcement, click on it, and show you what the assignments are.
With him doing the vinyl and looking into the poster boards, he'll be able to determine what the best size of the lettering will be as well.
Yeah. We'll come back. We'll do this one step at a time. Okay, the letters will probably come a little bit later. First, we'll find out what poster board he recommends and what sizes are available and that sort of stuff. And then come up with the And then we'll look at and she'll come up with a wallpaper next week, and then we'll say for what's the size of the board, put these together, what size we're gonna do, and we think taping them together is gonna work, and
If she's using wallpaper, if you put wallpaper paste on it and put it on both sides, you got surface tension on the whole thing, and it'll be stiff then.
and stiff may be bad here, because
Yeah.
we kind of want to fold it.
Well, you could, I mean,
You could slice it.
Yeah,
across
slice
the-
it on one
place around the
side.
back, make a slice.
Yeah, Okay,
So have it fold so that when you open it up, the sliced parts in the back where it won't be seen by everyone.
okay, and the wires would be on the back of the front, whatever we decided. We got a lot of other stuff, how to do the wiring later on. But we'll
Depends on what
just,
the wires look like when he gets here.
Yeah.
Stuff comes in.
Could I, I don't know, I'm not gonna say.
I'm still waiting for him to see the splice job. Oh, man. No. Okay.
I don't see that being a big deal.
Yeah.
If it's stranded wire.
I don't think it would be a big deal to do it.
Okay,
It may
It's
take a
ribbon,
little
it's
bit of
like
time,
ribbon
but I
wire.
don't think it would be a big deal to do it.
it's about the size of ribbon wire, ribbon cable wire,
Yeah, then it should be stranded, 'cause a lot of that is stranded cord.
and it's probably got 3 strands in it.
No, it's good
Probably come
wire.
up with some green red dye if you want to make it Christmas tree green.
Okay, yeah, well, let's go step at a time. We'll get our board defined, get our wallpaper
I
defined,
can't,
kind of keep an
for
eye
some
on the
reason, it's not
letters.
playing. There it goes.
And,
So this one was an early one where I didn't have the fading or the red.
what's the deal with it being slow? We got 30
I don't
megabit
know.
throughput here. This is, I don't know.
What I wanted to see, it's spelling right now, or it was. Come on. This, see
you
if
using
it's
that to
too
do that?
fast or too slow. I showed it to my wife. She didn't know what I was doing. She looked over at me and she goes, "Did it just spell right here?" And I went, yes, it did. So I think, if she got it, I think we're all right, but Jim said that it may be a little bit too fast.
Mhm.
I kind of thought it was a little bit too fast. My wife got it the
Yeah.
first time she saw it.
Well, we're
But she's
gonna
not
have
a child.
kids there too, so we wanna make sure. the
Kids are gonna need to read it slower. And the younger the child, the more they may need to actually write it down.
And that may be something we need to ask is what the target age range is, because I think adults could get it right 1 or 2 times.
If kids are around it, the foam core is pretty fragile. How likely is it kids are gonna break the foam core?
Well, they're not gonna be hands-on.
They
It's gonna be
shouldn't, they shouldn't touch it.
Somebody said on a tabletop, is it going to be flat or up on a?
I think
Or folded so that it's holding itself up?
when she said, it's a good question, I'll ask her, but when she said on top of a table, I thought it was going to be like a display
Mhm.
vertical kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I know I've a pile of kids. With the foam board, the Plastitac they use for putting posters up, a couple of daubs of that on the table, and it's pretty solid. It's not going to blow over or anything.
Speaking of that, I was thinking if we went the foam board route, because, I was thinking anyway, if you get some foam board and you cut it, you can make fins on the back where it would kind of be rigid.
That's a good idea as well.
Kind of stand up at an angle,
Yeah.
maybe.
And if that's hinged with the tape, they fold under and you're good.
Yeah, so that's where I was thinking, but I don't know if we were going to use foam board or what we're going to do, so. Foam board seems cheap.
Yeah, it's real cheap.
And the age or the target audience as far as age would be really a determining factor as to how like or realistic compared to the show we have to
Yeah.
focus on. Because kids 5 or 6 years old, if that's the audience, then that's not the type of show that hopefully a 5 or 6 year old would be watching.
But if it's an escape room, that's gonna be targeted, I think, towards more than 10 to 12,
I would have thought that escape room is not something for young kids.
Yeah.
Maybe young kids with their parents, but
What is an escape room?
it's basically a whole bunch of puzzles.
You're locked in the room until you solve them.
Okay,
It's-
so,
Solving the puzzles is how you get out.
It's a place you go, like a restaurant, only they put you in a room with all the stuff you have to figure out in order to get back out. It's a group activity. You go with a bunch of friends and
okay.
do this thing.
I haven't done it, I've got friends who have.
Yeah, it would be like if they locked this door, but there's a whole bunch of clues on where the key was to actually
You gotta
leave.
solve one to get to the next.
That's an escape room. Some of them are very elaborate, like when the one room leads into another room and you gotta figure out how to get out of that room. And then that room leads to another room.
Okay, if you look at the board here, this is in the meeting announcements. And see this area right here, that's a link to the Google Plus where the discussion is going on about what we're doing. If you have comments you want to make in the group, just go to that. And you may have to sign up to submit something. Leroy will let you in.
I don't know nothing.
Yeah. See, this is what you gotta do, Leroy, scheming and get people sucked in. He's Google Plus. Okay. Trying to get a Google Plus going. So, yeah, if you want to join the discussion, there it is. And the very first item has the link to the movie, to the series that you can, like I was showing you, that shows you the lights and the wallpaper and all that stuff.
I also think that since this is an escape room and since it's our display isn't actually the puzzle, it's leading to one of the clues for the puzzle. But I think, because of that, we don't necessarily have to make it extremely easy to read. It needs to be readable, but not.
But there should be a challenge to it.
And maybe make it faster, but replay it. Allow them to replay it. That's an idea.
Yeah.
And give them a little challenge.
Would you put a little button?
Well, I don't know about a button, but maybe my animation right at the beginning is pretty long. And I could shorten it so that it replays it faster,
Or that's part of the puzzle that they have to figure out. It's a clapper to get it to play again.
something like that.
Don't tell them, just let them figure it out.
Our voice recognition, and they have to say the secret word.
But
Siri,
But yes, I mean, it's all part of the ambiance of the puzzle. So having it too slow,
Mhm.
Kind of takes away from the.
Yeah.
having it too fast would do the exact same thing.
Hmm.
But somewhere in the middle, I think it was
Maybe
okay.
200 to 500 millisecond delay.
I don't even know what
Make it subliminal.
Well, I actually think that's what happened because Patty looked over at me and she goes, "Did that just say right here?" She had that puzzled look on her face, like she wasn't supposed to know it.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yes,
we'll
it
continue
did.
this activity next week. Anybody have anything else they want to do?
I have something I'd like to ask.
The questions are free.
Okay.
Answers cost.
I'm still trying to figure out the moving sculpture, how I can turn on the electromagnet every minute for a few seconds.
Mhm.
And there was a robotics guy the other night who was telling me all you need is a potentiometer, but isn't that just a rheostat?
Yeah.
But that doesn't like.
How
Well, you can
about-
use that to determine a charge time for something. Like if you use a NE555, you can use a rheostat to determine how fast a cap charges. And when it gets to a certain point, the 555 will fire And you can set that to
I don't
minutes.
even know what a 555 is.
No,
but this
it's
is
an IC.
It's a little timer.
See, this isn't gonna be hooked up to a computer or Arduino or anything else. There's like a couple of flashlight batteries, an electromagnet, and then something to make it so the electromagnet every once in a while.
Well, a
Is it,
555 timer doesn't have to be hooked up to anything more than a couple of parts and doesn't need an Arduino to control it. Just
yeah, they're
But the
very, very
batteries,
simple.
it's pretty serious. So using the 555, you could probably change them once a day.
Yeah.
You could use they have a low current version of the 555, the NS 555 or something like that.
So something called a 555, huh?
Yeah.
Any 555 is the original National Semiconductor.
How do you
They're
program-
actually pretty easy to use.
You hook it up to a computer to program it for the time?
No,
Really?
no.
no.
A capacitor and a resistor
Yeah.
form, it's called an RC circuit, a resistor capacitor.
Yeah.
And the resistor determines the charge time for the capacitor. When it gets to a
Oh.
certain level,
Then the capacitor
then
discharges.
it shorts out the capacitor and it fires an external, a third wire.
So it's a really quick burst of electricity, then it doesn't go for like 3 or 4 seconds if you need it to?
Or-
You set the ratio of on to off.
Okay.
with the capacitor and resistor. So it's not too hard.
Because the other thing I was gonna do was get a switch for a windshield wiper thing. But I just wasn't sure that's used to a big car 12-volt battery. I'm gonna have like 5-volt.
It's a different circuit there. They're using the SCR and it's a special
Yeah.
thing. But car timers, trust me, no.
Not gonna happen, okay?
I'm not sure what it is you want the solenoid to do.
It's
but-
just to make I've got this round bottom thing that I want, that will, if I give it a little nudge, this is a sculpture that's supposed to move. If I give it a little nudge for 70 seconds, it'll keep doing kind of a random
Okay.
and then it stops. But
So-
if I have an electromagnet that will pull it down toward the steel pedestal every once in a while, it will get it going again.
So
There's the circuit for any 555. It's a 8-pin chip. Okay, and you set the ratio of resistors for the on time and off time typically.
How do you set that? What do you do?
It's
It's a
the value.
There's a math
potentiometer.
problem in it.
Yeah, it's pretty much math. You find the right resistors to.
Oh,
If you know
find
you
the right
want this
resistor.
amount of time, then it needs to be
Okay.
this size cap and this size resistor. If you make the cap bigger, you need to make the resistor smaller. So there are ratios that you keep track of.
You need to get on Google Plus
Yeah.
and submit a question. And this joker or this joker or even this joker, I played with 555s. And get with, now, can you replace the battery once a day or once a week?
Once a week would be great.
Okay.
You
They'll
can,
probably get by with a regular NE 555.
Other option, if you want it to be exactly 1 minute, $4 AA powered clock and have the second hand tap a switch. It'll do it, it'll work, and it'll be exactly a minute.
How do you
If
tap the
you-
switch?
You
Way to
put a
pass it
micro
over?
switch in the arc of the second hand, so
Okay.
as it goes by, it'll just touch it. It won't take much, and it has enough energy to work a switch. That's simple and easy, but that doesn't give you any timing.
Every minute's fine.
On the old, the Armatron wristwatch, they had a little timing fork in there, and that used it's called a UJT, a unit junction transistor. And it actually sensed the motion, and the timing fork in there, the tuning fork, was, it formed a harmonic circuit. If you want something that every time it gets back to a position, it kicks it again, you put a magnet in it, and an electromagnet or a solenoid, and a UJT, so it will sense the magnet coming close to the coil and then force the coil in reverse polarity to push the magnet away. So that's a thing that it would just sit there and keep moving forever. I did that on pendulums for clocks, and there are a few toys that have things that move where there's a magnet on the bottom of it and a coil. And they use a UJT geez, there's like 3 components in there. Total value is 28 cents, so there's not much to it. And those, because they only work when the magnet comes near, battery life on those things is amazing. 6 months on a AA.
That'd be wonderful.
Let's see.
I might
So
need more
that's-
power than.
That's what I was trying to think of 2 weeks ago when you were here. Because I've seen those. I didn't know how they work. But I've seen
Yeah,
them.
so the UJT fires when the, what is it? So the base current goes greater than the emitter current. They work backwards.
Oh, you're right.
what you want to do is to go to this discussion group where it says Google Plus there, click on that, and in order to, you can submit your own article then. Well, once you get into it and you say, I want to submit my own article, then you have to inquire in it, and Leroy will say, okay, and you'll be able to submit your own article. This is what I want to do. That's where this room thing, escape room, it came from. We put it up as an article, and everybody's contributing to that. Everybody's looking at the different options that Leroy has presented and making comments, and somebody like him could find you an article to say this is one. And then I could say, well, this is how an NE5 with 55 would work, and I could find you an eBay timer for 99 cents that would do it. So that's a good way to consult like that.
And this was the URL?
That's
Oh, the timer, okay.
555timercircuits.com.
Oh, cool.
There's
There are hundreds,
There's
thousands.
thousands.
Yeah, thousands. And then
But
you go to
that's-
eBay and find one that's already made that you have to set the jumpers on, and you're out of here.
Okay. And the URL for Google Plus, is there a link to it on the meetup site or? no?
Yes.
Yes, there is, okay. Then I'll get to it.
On the meetup site, Leroy?
Not the meetup site.
Oh, on the club site.
It's on the club site.
What's that URL? I
It's,
can't see it.
you get the email message from me, meeting announcement?
Yeah, I
message?
think I do, yeah.
It's in there.
It's in there, it's right
Okay.
there. This is a copy of what we sent out today.
Okay.
And just go click on the Google Plus, or
Yes.
I can easily get 36-inch wide paper. Do you want me to bring some?
Because I'm thinking with this thing, maybe these lines are too thin and it's not able to
I
stay
think-
on track. So if it was wider, it may work.
I think it's got problems with its line follower because I've read a bunch of stuff that
Other people do. Well,
has said that it's had problems with its line follower. I will let you know.
Okay.
Don't worry about that right now.
it's an easy
There's
thing to
way
grab.
there's way too much other stuff going on right now.
Yeah. So did somebody have something for a presentation next week?
I don't want to 100% commit, but
You should be committed. though.
I do have that AIY coming for the Raspberry Pi.
AIY for the Raspberry Pi.
Google AIY. Have you seen that? You're one of the you missed it too.
Okay.
Magpie actually was giving them away when you subscribe to the Magpie.
Okay.
It's artificially intelligent, do-it-yourself circuit thingamabob that I have no idea what it actually does yet. But I had to buy it on eBay. I had to pay extra for it because I wanted artificially intelligent thingamabobs. And it should be here this week. And I'll see if I can play with it and get something going a little bit better than this. So
Once I get my oven fully up and running I'll be able to bring that in and show how all the parts in there are working.
Okay. So next week, Google AIY, and a good way to get these guys started on that is that sort of stuff, is put a thread up on Google Plus for this. But that'd be a good thing for you, because you can have people consult with you and give you the canned answers. And that's what it's for. Okay.
what
Well, we got time.
I've got picked up a couple of other HMI kind of dealy bobs for the Arduino that I haven't even had a chance to sit and play with yet, but they use like an Android tablet as the HMI.
Okay. That's fully what we expected.
And maybe something to actually play with one week too.
What's HMI?
Human machine interface,
Okay.
HMI.
I don't ask anymore. There's so many initials going by.
The thing that has eluded me for years is I don't know why they aren't using these for Arduinos and putting Bluetooth I/O gear on these suckers.
You can,
They
you can
have.
program them through mobile. Don't know exactly how it all works, but I know that there's an Arduino IDE that you can download on Android.
There's no reason. These things are cheap enough. This is thing, a nice processor.
There was a board called IOIO or Yo-Yo years ago. That's exactly what it did. This is different. This actually turns your phone into a display for your Arduino, and you can use you can have the text to speech. It works both directions. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
use the text to speech, and you could have it talk through your phone.
Really?
Yeah, which is a little bit more than the HMI does, but it's all right. I'll let it live.
I mean, when we think about it,
And
it's got
HMI in like the industrial world is really display kind of thing. This does,
it's typically touchscreen.
yeah, this does a lot more than
Yeah.
than that. But I guess technically it's still an HMI because it's still a human machine interface.
What I used to work at AMOLD up in Mason, and our HMIs up there were big.
Big, yeah. I bought, there were two different ones from two different, both of them, just to play with. Two different actual display modules that plug onto the Arduino that say that they're HMIs.
Okay.
So the display modules themselves are programmable, and then they talk to the Arduino to do certain things.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
So there's a library to just.
I haven't messed with any of it. It just, I bought it and said, cool,
Yeah.
on the shelf.
Then a couple years down the road, you'll end up figuring out something that you might need it for.
It's just the way it is. I buy a bunch of stuff and just put it up on the shelf.
Yeah.
Well, it's always nice to have parts kicking around because you never know when you're gonna need some random part that you may not be able to find 2 or 3 years from now.
I
Problem
have
is,
tools in my garage 4 years later. So I got one of those.
Exactly.
Yeah.
the problem with the Arduino though is sometimes like the reason why I got one of these, I got it really cheap.
Mhm.
It's not supported anymore. So, you know,
Yeah.
I grabbed the software and everything that I could grab for it now, but 2 or 3 years from now, there may be nothing. No, well, this isn't supported anymore either, but one of the HMIs I bought.
Okay.
The GERT board that I was
Was-
talking about earlier, I got it from Spark Fun. It was their getting rid of the stock sale of those because they were no longer being
It's not supported. NCM
I paid
and
like
NCM has
$10
been
for it.
blowing a bunch of that stuff out, and I've bought it because they've gotten it to the price that I went, okay,
Why not?
but you got to grab the software now and put it up, because if you don't, who knows if you're going to be able to find it later.
Next week, do you want to do how to set up Google Plus?
No,
We need to do that. Do you want Google Plus to run? I'm teaching this guy.
No, I want to play with the Google artificially intelligent thingy.
Oh, yeah.
I've got to
I want-
sign up
I
for
wanna
the
teach
Google
it-
Plus page.
I want to put it on wheels and teach it to roll around and get me a Pepsi out of the refrigerator.
You could probably reprogram that thing to fix some of the bugs.
Looking at me like I'm nuts.
Hey. It's easier than training a dog to do it, isn't it?
You could
I don't
find
think
the-
so.
Probably not.
If you could find the code that was originally put on that, you could probably tweak it to get it to actually fix all the bugs that they wouldn't fix, unless it's the hardware itself.
The code's available. It's I don't know what its deal is. It's got weird. It's probably one of those things. I wanted it is going to go. I'll take the batteries out of it and put it up on a shelf and say, "I've got one." Those other robots we've got are much better and a whole lot cheaper.
And the fact that you built them kind of gives you that extra pride of doing it yourself kind of thing.
I will tell everybody though, this little screen was actually off.
Mhm.
See the little bubbles in it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't put super glue on the backside to try to reseal that.
Is that what the bubbles are?
That's what the bubbles are. You can actually see little drops of super glue. It sealed it. It won't come off.
I thought that was just part of the software that's on there.
It's a feature now. I did it to myself. I did not realize that apparently the screen it's clear. It's clear through. And I did not realize that. So
Yeah, the connections they make to that are through conductive rubber. It's a conductive insulating, they're just really fine and squeeze it.
well, learn something. I mean, the
You just
The-
need
the
more
board-
super glue.
well, yeah, that would make it look right?
You can't undo what's there, but you can always add more.
It started to separate, and I figured, well, super glue. It did.
Next time you could run a bead along the outside edge.
Or find super glue that dries clear.
Mm.
And or Elmer's glue. Elmer's glue probably will work just as well.
Hot melt, hold it down with the thumb, a couple dobs of hot melt around the edge.
Yeah. Well, I ordered a new one of those boards for like $4 from China. So
Yeah.
So you ought to have it by Halloween.
pretty much.
The
I think
pin
China
connectors on there for
ships
the
stuff out
add-ons.
like
Are
once a
those
month or
2 pins
something.
or 3?
Because I noticed sometimes if you order at certain times of the month, you get whatever it is from China in like a week. But if you order it at another time, it may take 2 months to get. I don't know what the deal is.
How close they are to having that container filled.
That's probably it.
Frequency adjuster module.
Yeah, all of them have potentiometers, 2 potentiometers.
I ordered 2
You can
relays
probably adjust up, down,
from
downtime,
China.
well, on time, off time, that's
Okay.